Greetings, my name is KKT. Today I'm going to do a speech about my life and technology. Why did I choose to do the speech about my life? I chose to do the speech about my life because I just want to impress who I am, So let me begin again. First of all, I have to introduce myself. My name is KKT. Today I'm going to do a speech about my life and technology. Why do I want to do a speech about my life and technology? My life is because I'm explaining who I am. I have to be authentic. Who is KKT? Where does he emerge from? Where is he going? Where is his realm? So that's why I decided to go with a speech about myself and technology, my life. And again, why I included technology. I included technology because technology have a humongous impact on me, So, being indoors watching TV, the refrigerator, a lot of things, the stove, the cars, the phone, even now, how am I talking? Where am I talking? What is it that is capturing my speech? It is technology. The phone, the smartphone is called. So that's why I wanted to talk about it, a speech about my life and technology. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is KKT. I was born 11 December 1999. I'm the firstborn of my parents. My parents, when they gave birth to me, they were teenagers. And I've just said that I'm the firstborn. So, I was born 11 December 1999. My father and my mother's side, they made a church, my parents, I think. Because now I'm going to talk about where do I come from, my life. I assume they made a church. The next thing, in my father's side, it was fine. Grandfather, the provider. He was working in my father's side. So my mother thought that he could emerge because girls want to give birth with someone whose background is stable. It's very rare for a girl just to be in love with a loser, his parents, her parents. It's very rare, But it's vast background, you're already having a child, you're stable, everything. My mother noticed that about my father. His father was working, I assume. But also I assume my mother's side, my father, saw my mother's side because grandfather, father of my mother, was working, So I can say vice versa. My mother saw the circumstance in my father's side, and my father saw the circumstance at my mother's side. They were working, both of them. By now they should be both on pension. So I assume the family wanted to do a conjunction. They wanted to join forces so that they can be superior, so that they cannot be what, because this life you have to have connections. This life you have to have a mentality which will make money because we live with money. So if in my mother's side the grandfather is working, there are connections so that they can go to work, his people, my father. The same my mother, when he notices my father said that he's fine, the father, so there will be connection. That means life can be generated. So that's the reason I was born. Vice versa. My father watching my mother's side. My mother watching what? My father's side. That's why I was born. I don't want to say as if my mother's side. No, I should be ashamed if my father noticed my father's circumstance. I should be ashamed if my father noticed my mother's circumstance, family background. So that's the reason I was born. So it was on, I was born 11 December 1999. So when I was born to teenage parents, they were not yet above 20 years, both of them. That precisely means that they are still what? Kids. Even now teenagers, they're not old, they're not shrinking, So, father, when I was born 11 December due to what teenage pregnancy, I assume that father was planning to have a family. Mother was also growing, they were planning to have a family. It's time to make a nest. Because when you grow up, I think I'm programmed to look for my own house. I'm programmed to look for my own house. So when I grow up, I have to get out of home. I have to go and search for food. So I think my father came with a blueprint, a strategy. Vice versa, my mother. So that's why they decided to give birth at a young age. So because they're starting the family. And they give birth to a son and I'm their firstborn. You know? So perception, on father, having a strategy to make a family, I'm the first child. But I don't want to condone them as if they were planning a family, teenage parents. What if they were also planning to be rich? Because before being rich, what comes? You cannot think about a family before thinking about being rich. Being rich comes first. It's a priority to be rich. So now I was vouching for them, teenage pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes when I'm alone, I look for money to be rich. Sometimes cannibalism exists. Like if I give birth as a teenager, like right now, the next thing at 50 years old, I'm working. I'm joining policies, funeral policies. I'm joining societies. So when you lost your loved one, there will be what rewards, benefits. So sometimes I think that the teenage pregnancy, perhaps father, perhaps mother, they will have come with that strategy. Because I don't want to condone them, vouch for them, be optimistic, pessimistic, or curse. I can come with a strategy that if at 50 I kill my child, I can make maybe 800,000. Just hear that strategy if the plan goes well, the blueprint. But there's pessimistic, there's optimistic. In the optimistic realm, you wanted a family, I'm the firstborn, that's it. In a pessimistic realm, they wanted what money, because it's crystal clear about teenage pregnancy. That yes, the societies, you have grown, you're still young, sorry, then the kid have grown. Next thing, if the kid dies, the next thing, you are still fresh to have new kids. You can still give birth. Then people will never thought that you had a child as a teenager. No, they'll never assume that. So it's also a strategy to be rich. So I don't want to vouch for them. The next thing. So then technology. When I'm talking about technology, like what is technology? Technology, I think, is literacy combined with art. To write down something, then take it into life. A machine, they say a machine is what? The stove, the fridge, a car. So I want to talk about me, where does technology get in? But to be honest, the technology I was going to talk about was the moment of TV, where I have solitude, whereby I'm indoors. Because the speech is about my life and technology. So technology has a vast impact on me. That's why I wanted to talk about what the TV, the fridge, because that's when I'm illuminating to find out that the stove, the fridge, everything, where do they come from? So that was me enlightening. I've just said, where do they come from? To find out they come from what? The soil, the mineral. The mineral. So sometimes I ask myself, perception on my question, the assumptions. Why? How? So the mineral, the coal, the diamond, let's start with electricity. How electricity? Electricity, coal. Coal is from what? The soil. Then the next thing, they dig the soil. There are mines of coal mines. They exist. The next thing, So I think grandfather was working at coal mine. I assume my mother's side. That's what I think. Then the next thing just hit life when mother gave birth to me because of the coals. So the next thing, it brings me to that the soil is God. Because now I'm talking on the phone, the TV. It is from what? The coal. So that the coal, they make fire with them. Then heat comes. I think it's heat energy. Then it's the turbine. The turbines, they are rotating machines. Just that I have a little knowledge. I have a little ounce knowledge about electricity. I studied this for a period of short time. That's what I'm talking about, turbines. Turbines are what? Spinning like the motors. You see a fan rotating like it's like a fan, a turbine. The power stations. The next thing I do, the coal gets heat. The next thing, the coal, it boils the water, the coal. The coal are programmed to boil the water. The next thing, after boiling the water, the heat energy coming from the water when the water is boiling, it is going straight to the turbines. It's rotating, like a fan. When it's hot, a fan. They rotate that. So that rotating the turbine is a rectifier, is a converter. When it's spinning like that, it's converting, it's transforming the steam of the water into electrical energy. It's a conversion, because we all know that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but energy can be transferred from one point to another. Energy can dissipate. It can never be destroyed, can never be created. It has powers, miracle, magic, like it just change. So then it is converted into electrical energy by the turbine, the fan, like. The next thing, that's why we're having what? Electricity. The power station, the substation, then there are what? Vessels, the road to control the electrical energy. As we all know now, the electricity, the voltage, the light, the bulb, everything, the light, where does it come from? I don't want to delve deeper, but I've just phrased a little ounce about the technology. The light bulb. Where does the light bulb is the energy from what? The coal. So the coal is what is the mineral, is the soil. Just hear that. It is the soil. So the next thing is God. God works somehow. The soil becomes what? A light, because there is no light without dark. If there was no darkness, there wouldn't be any light. And I assume me as a human being, as a Homo sapien, I cannot see a dark. Unlike cats, snakes, I think they see a dark. But me, I cannot see clear. I have to use a light. That's why God did the soil. Because I don't know where I come from, but there is this slang whereby the soil I am, soil I shall return. So I assume that the light bulb coming from the soil, the slang says from the soil I am to the soil I shall return. The light bulb is what is part of me. It's part of me that God will give you tools to live well. They will show you the veg. They will guide you. Perception, persistence, perseverance. There are some more ingredients when I'm looking for success. The same as a human being I want to live. There are what? Tools that God created. For instance, I'm talking about technology. I think technology is the what? Is now because we have evolved the evolution. Because we all know where I come from, my ancestors. The now is what is an evolution, revolution. Then the next thing, that's why there is what? Electricity. But prior to, I assume my ancestors were using what? Fire. I assume there was a volcano eruption, and also they were what? They were, drilling it, They were drilling it, sort of using the brand, the stick, like, that's what my ancestors. They were what? God's creation. So now that's what we call evolution. So when they have evolved the light to see, it's because of the coal. The coal burns what? The water. The water, the steam goes to the turbine, the fan, like, a fan for heat, but I've said it prior to. Then the next thing is the turbine increase rotate. It converts the heat energy into electrical energy. As now I'm having the light now, it is what the light, it is from electrical energy to what? To light energy. You see the next thing? So because the light bulb, there's a wire called the tungsten, you know. So it's tungsten, which is because I have knowledge. But when you are what new to what I'm saying, perhaps an elephant in the room, you know, it can be tricky, it can be unbearable. But what I'm saying is that there's a wire called a tungsten. That wire can be able to hold the what? To hold the heat. It's a filament. I think it's a steel like tungsten wire. Then the next thing, the bulb of the globe, it is burning. It is what? The electrical energy. Because you all know that electricity, if you touch it, you get electrocuted. You die instantly, just like that. It depends on how the voltage they are. If there's too much voltage, then you die. So that means that electricity is very hot. That means that electricity is what? Is hot. So that's why it's choking. They call it choking, electrical hazard. You know, there are board signs talking about you don't touch here. Too much voltage. You know, high voltage. Don't touch. A lightning is what? Electricity. Electricity, when if a storm it hits you, the next thing, what happens? Ashes. Too much voltage, a storm. So I'm going to talk about my life, perhaps back in 99 at my hospital where I was born. At the hospital where I was born, so there was what? Electricity. There was what? The light bulb. It was when I was born on the 11th December 1999. So that's why I assumed that there was what? Electricity technology. That's why the speech I said it. That it's about my life and technology, the topic. You know? And you know, technology is what? It's a faculty. It's because me at school, I chose the stream that accompanies technology. I did physical sciences. That's why I have a vast knowledge about technology. You know? So that's why I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it because on the 11th December, it's because of the call to be electricity that I went with a car. But I'm not sure. But I assume from my village to the town, because the hospital is a town, there have to be a car. And a car, we all know, is what? It's a transport. And a car is programmed for what? A transport. It is programmed to take a human or something, carry object, the cargo, merchandise. It's programmed to take it somewhere quickly. You know, if I want to go to town now, if I use my legs, my capabilities, that's why I clarified that God will do some tools. Ingredients of success is persistence, perseverance, and perception. So the next thing, let's come to a car technology to take me somewhere quickly. You know, I cannot go that I have what? Limits. I'm not capable, I'm not programmed to walk a long distance. I'll get tired. It can even lead to paralyzation. The next thing. So that's why it's what? A car technology. You know? So that's why 11th December 1999, when I was becoming alive, you know, I became alive there at the hospital. I think the lights and the machines were available. You know, that's what I assume. Because even now where I come from, the hospital, it is still available, but they no longer use it. There's a new hospital. I come from the old hospital. Now it's abandoned, like, you know. So there's a new hospital which is humongous, but we all know that the hospitals become enormous, you know. So the next thing, technology, I assume it was available. So I was born 11 December, yes, technology played a vast role. But within a year, the person who was responsible for my life, for me to talk everything, because my mother placed the perception on my father's side. Within a year, that person died. That's grandfather, my father's father, rest in peace. Even now, if I go to the cemetery, the graveyard, the tombstone, 1950 to 2000. You see that my grandfather is not that old. 1950, he's not yet 80 years old. He is not 90 years old. He's grown, yes, to be a grandfather, yes. But he is what? He is, he lived 50 years. He lived half a century, 50 years. 2000, he perished. That was what? The source of my life. If he was not available, if he was not working, if he was a loser, if he was a loser, there was no way I was going to be alive. I wouldn't be talking by now. There wouldn't be this life. It's not that my mother is stupid. My mother ain't stupid, and my father also ain't stupid. The next thing. So, the person who was responsible for my life died within a year. Died within a year because we all know competition, we all know. But I assume it's because of God. Because God is the creator of everything. So don't think he died within a year. So, a lot of questions come to me. So my parents, it concludes everything. If the provider died of my father's side, and he was still a young father, so it's crystal clear, it is convenient that things that will not go well. Things will not accelerate properly. There's going to be obstacles, transgression, anarchy. So that's why. So, it's because of what? The cause. That's why those kind of things happen. It's because of what? They cut. There's a point where there's a wing which is cut. And when the wings are cut, there's no levitation. I cannot levitate. That says a lot about me as KKT. If the provider dies, that means what? Things will not go well for me. I have poverty in me. I can see little poverty because I don't want to embarrass myself, humiliate myself. But I'm being honest, poverty like. So I should be making money. If he didn't die 2000, I would be rich by now, a millionaire, having dozens and numerous qualifications. By now I should be having numerous qualifications, academics. Even if I'm failing, but I will have knowledge, I'll have a testimony that I once studied this certain course. My father, my grandfather compensated for me so that I can study. So if I got that certificate, I was going to qualify so that I can get a amount of money. But if I just said that within a year, the person who was responsible for my life, he died, that probably means that poverty will be with me. That means I can't study. No one will compensate for me, numerous. But I'm still talking about, you can hear that things will be what? Difficult, and they will be vastly difficult. But if grandfather was available, they were going to be slightly difficult. So I'm inside money. For me to talking about this, I'm inside money to live. My life and technology. My life, I think, is a protocol as a human being to have money. A human being, I think, it uses money. Clothes have to be compensated. I think a lot of things, food have to be compensated. And even the technology that I'm talking about, it have to be compensated. It wants money. And the next thing, I'm still a kid. To feast, parents are the one. Even if now I go to the departments, the government, they wanted the guardian. They'll not take me seriously because I'm a kid. Even if I'm old, maybe I'm having a disease or something, the first question that they ask, where is it? Who is it I'm living with? That's the first question they ask. Who am I living with? That's what they call it, a guardian. So, as a little kid crawling on the land, being an infant, I cannot feed myself. There must be a guardian. And even now, if I'm talking, the guardian is my mother. What I'm doing right now, what I'm wearing, what I'm talking, I'm clean, I'm smart, So, it's because of what? The guardian. My mother, to be honest. It's because of my mother. I just want to be crystal clear, convenient. A guardian. So now I'm talking about what? Food. Food, there will be limitations. First of all, marriage. I didn't have food for the fourth spiritual. They were what? They were jeopardized by the devil. They perish. So the devil is the one that led to me not being what? In my home. I didn't grow up in my home. I grew up in my grandparents, my mother's side. I grew up in there. And now, as I'm talking now, if he died within a year, I'm still an infant within a year. What is it that I was eating? What is it that I was eating? If he died within a year and father was a teenager, it's just that grandmother was still alive. She was going to be a laughing stock that her child is only good with having sex and giving birth. They were going to give enemies leverage. That's why, in my perspective, I think that the grandmother played a role in my raising. Because I hear that there's some close, whereby I think there was this cousin, the bigger cousin of mine. I think he's 5 years older than me. I think there are some few clothes that I wore from him, the family. You see, that's what I think. The next thing I'm talking about was food. My father was 19 years old when he gave birth to me. So when he's 19 years old and he studied, he matriculated. He was having what he said he did what commerce, a commerce stream, financial stream. Then he completed high school. So after high school, his father died when he was 19 years. He was 18, so my father when he gave birth to me, he was 18. So if his father died at the age of 19, it's crystal clear that what he can't perpetuate his studies, he can't further his studies because he was what interrupted. The death interrupted, it stops him from levitating. It stopped him. So the next thing, but he was a gent. He's having his siblings. He was a gent hustling because it's just that now he's dead. But when I was growing up, he was a gent hustling clothes. This time, he doesn't hustle clothes. There was this time I was still young, but not that young. There was this time I didn't have the Easter holidays clothes. I didn't have the Christmas clothes. Just hear the pain. I reminisce compensated by my grandfather. The last day, the 24th month, I went to town and compensated me few clothes. Father that year didn't deliver clothes. The next thing is because it was difficult for him. It was difficult because when I grew up in my mother's side, I never saw some food. From my father's side, I never saw anything. I was supposed to do a phone call by now and call my mother on this speech. Mother, did father ever provide food or money for me to grow up? I think no. It was never done. Just hear that. And it was like a deceit for me to be born. My father had a perception and they met at church. So that's why by my mother decided that he can join forces. That's why I'm born. But a tragedy, a predicament occurs. Instead of a paradise, a predicament came. A tragedy which caused the apocalypse 2000. A catastrophe struck 2000 and caused apocalypse. What I'm talking about was food, I'm talking about clothes, I'm talking about what? Numerous things. I didn't have them, but it's just that because there was social grant. There was social grant, then the next thing was, but it was little ounce, the money, but it was helping. I can say that for certain, it played an impact on me, is the social grant, because I was born 1999, 11 December, Then the next thing, the social grant played a role and grandfather was working. The next thing I think, I'm honest, he just died, the grandfather 2000, grandmother was still alive, there's no money left. He can just die like that and not leave money. Societies, I think societies they don't begin now. Savings to save money. To save money doesn't begin now. So the next thing, father was a gent. Sometimes when he's working, sometimes he's not working. That's life. So the next thing, the social grant, I think the one that raised me, to suck milk, to suck food from the breast. Because I suck my mother's titty. Then the next thing, that's where I get food. So father was supposed to feed my mother. And I'm the firstborn, that's why difficulty emerged when. So difficulty emerged 2000. The person who is responsible for my life when he died. That's where a problem emerged. So the next thing, So matter what his daughter was eating, perhaps he was eating food from his father and the siblings, everything. And the social clan is because this went tremendously horrible. So that's why there was difficult. Even now there is still difficulty. Even now there's still difficulty about me. I'm still a kid. I just want to be authentic. I'm still a kid. What is it that now I'm eating? What is it with me now? I have to be honest. You have to be honest. I'm on social ground now. Just hear that. I'm on social ground. Things aren't working out for me. I went to the hospital. I was not fine. They detected the schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a brain disease. But it have to be treated. I take medication per month. Then the next thing is a brain disease. I'm on social grant. Then the social grant now is helping me live, to eat, to bath. I have to eat. I have to eat. I have to bath, be smart. Just hear that even now, social grant is shaming. But I have to be authentic. Frankly speaking, I'm on social ground. It's shaming me. I'm ashamed of the man, yes. I'm ashamed of the man because I should be a top dog, I should be having money. And I'm about to chasing cash. But when it comes to chasing cash, there's what difficulty. Like mother was chasing cash 1999 when he joined the forces with father. And they met at church. It was a strategy to eat, to go to bed with a full stomach. It was a strategy firstborn. It was either they were building a nest so that I'm going to help them, or it's either they were busy with what? They were going to kill me when they are old. So they were going to kill me when they are old and give birth. It's about that. He was making a deal. And here I'm alive. I'm the deal, I'm the cargo. They were pushing a cargo. Then the deal went horribly wrong. So that's why today I'm on social ground, shaming. It's very shaming. Just hear about my life. I don't have a car. Even a girlfriend. I don't have a girlfriend. I was with a girlfriend at the young age growing up, but everything got jeopardized. Father died in 2018. Grandmother died in 2010. I'm talking about my father's side, so that I cannot make money. That's why now I don't have a girlfriend. My girlfriend, which I was having them back in high school, So things now, the way I planned them, things are not going well. So that's why I'm not having a girlfriend. You all know that suck. That's an embarrassment to not have a girlfriend. That means that I'm not having sex. Just here. And sex is very delicious. Sex is fascinating. So the next thing is because of what? A deal went wrong. A deal went wrong 2000. He died now at the graveyard of my village. 1950 to 2000. And father was trying. Father was trying very hard. The next thing again, God. When I grew up, I think grandmother got sick around 2006, 2007. And I was what? Still a kid. So ever since when I grew up in my father's side, there was no one. There was no one at my father's side. The house was abandoned. Just hear that kind of traumatization. I'm only left with my mother's side, so I'm left with my mother's side. There's no father's side of mine. Just hear that. Just hear that devastation. Then the next thing, it was traumatization. Sometimes I can say it's a curse. Maybe they don't want in my father's side. They don't love my mother. They don't love my family. Because everything was demolished. Demolition occurred because of the death at 2000. That's why now I'm not having a girlfriend. That's why I'm not making money. It's because of the death. Then again, I'm still talking about my grandmother being sick, left with grandmother, only his siblings. That's father. And for me to talk about all of this is because I'm inside money. I'm inside cash. That's why I'm talking about why I'm not making cash. Why now I'm getting the welfare money. Just hear that. To live, to bath, just hear that. Just hear those kind of things. And even now, I think that even with the welfare money, I cannot hustle and get a work and get employed. Yes, I have numerous qualifications, but I cannot use them. I cannot use the qualifications because of what? The money will be cut. And if the money is cut, because I'll be getting another money. Because if I do another cut, it is fraud. I'm going to jail. I can be a mob may come and beat me. They may protest and beat me. So that means it's probably a shadow of death. So the next thing, that's why I have to accept the situation and accept the money. Because now if the money gets cut, my father said there's no one. I was having this stepfather which is what? Aggressive. He wants to touch my head. I think a few years ago. He clapped me. And he told me that he feed me more than his kids. Just hear that. That's the shadow of death. Just hear that about me. To be hacked. To be hacked because now as you hear me that this can say that I can be called a clever but to be hacked. They hacked me 2000. They hacked me 2010 father was trying. 2018 father died. The next thing mother, I'm standing in my mother's way. My mother doesn't have qualifications. I'm left with her only. That tells everything about me. It's the shadow of death. I'm working on the shadow of death. The reaper have arrived or the reaper is closed. I'm working on the shadow of death. That's why I don't have a choice. Swallowing this kind of a bitter pill to swallow. I feed you more than my kids. What do? And I'm living alone. I was living alone before the social grant. I was living alone. The next one I'm living alone, mother's savings. She tried mother. But the next thing, she ran out of money. The next thing is no longer money. I'm stranded She tried several times. The next thing, I'm left with what? This guy to eat. This guy with water and oil. And it's because of what? I have to distance myself from my mother's husbands. Boyfriend. I have to distance myself because my mother is not that old. But I don't have a choice. And we all know about home invasion. We all know about perpetrators. We all know about intruders. Criminals. Criminals come with a strategy, crime intelligence. They come with a strategy. It's not that I'm accusing anyone of everything right now because they can say that I'm talking metaphorically. I'm inciting violence. But it's not about that. I'm just being offended because home invasion, if someone comes in your home and slit your throat with a saw, slit your throat with a knife, there will be what? There will be what? Some sort of a propaganda. There will be a mob. There will be publicity. The next thing, you have to organize crime. You have to conspire conspiracy. The covenant, you have to come with something that will make sure that the clean job. You have to come with something that will do a clean job perhaps. The next thing, I cannot say blah blah is someone, sorry. I cannot say that because I know about God the Creator. As I was talking about what the technology, the cause. I was talking about the cause, the electricity to light. So I am, so I shall return. Dust I am, dust I shall be. So the next thing, those kind of things. And it comes about pairing. The ethnic, the tribes. Tribalism. It's not a shenanigan things like tribalism. They exist. Tribalism, racism, nationalism, feminism, lot of isms. They exist. So it can be what? Perhaps it can be tribe. It can be tribalism because I was always indoors. Now let's get inside technology. Now I'm switching to technology because the speech is precisely about my life and technology. So now let's get inside technology. Because I was talking about the word right now before entering the technology faculty. I was talking about my life, about my wife, a girl that I want to marry ever since a little kid. I was focused, I was focused studying my book, even elucubrating, even now as you can hear me, I'm chasing money. I think it's a protocol to chase money, to look for money. So the next thing, I have money, I have to be rich, a car, everything, a big house, a township house, a suburb, a townhouse. I'm all about that. I'm all about the lifestyle. I think it's the protocol for human being to be smart, to be beautiful, So the next thing, let's talk about pairing. Let's talk about pairing. My grandfather died 2000, grandmother died in 2010. The next thing, my father died in 2018. Because now I'm talking about what? About pairing. So when I was having girlfriend, yes, then the next thing, but I thought about wife because I'm a species. I'm a human species. My hair. Even the white woman is my wife because she is a feminine. She is a woman. She is a girl. Even if I go and live in the huddle of white people, the fact is that I'm a male. I'm a masculine. I won't change and be a female if I'm living with the white people. That's why I know that God, perhaps the white woman is my alternative woman, my alternative wife, what I may say. So let's get inside tribalism and those kind of things. I'm inside what? Technology. I'm switching to technology now. About pairing a wife to marry. I'm going to get out. I'm going to look for money. 2000 grandfather died. 2010 mother died. Grandmother died. 2018 father died. I finished school 2016. I finished school 2016. That's when I'm going to make money. I was 17 years old when I finished school. I'm going to look for money. I'm going to look for being rich. I'm going to look for clothes. I'm going to look for food. I'm going to look for various things. Lifestyle. I'm going to have kids. My little ones, my pedigree, my monarch, my monarch. So my monarch. So my pedigree. My lineage. My descendants. I was planning that. At 17, I told myself at 20 years, I will be making money. At 20 years, I will be making money. That's what I told myself. Because I'm young, 17, finishing school. The next thing, they're going to help me. Father especially. I think it's the reason father died. It's because I was going to use his connections so that I can make money. He was going to help me because even now my kid, if I give birth, I don't have a child now. But if I give birth, my child is not the same age as me. He's a kid. I have to show him where to graze, where not to graze. I have to pave a veg for him. I have to dictate him. I have to guide him. As I've said that God made some ingredients of success, made some tools to live with as a human being. The tools even now. We're no longer wearing animal skin, I think. My ancestors were wearing animal skin, I assume. But before the animal skin, what is it they were wearing? Perhaps the plants. They were wearing the plants, perhaps. Then now evolution, the clothes are because of God. So the next thing, the same as me, like the clothes I have to wear, the same as my kids. I have to guide them. I have to show them a path, a way. That's proclaiming. So the next thing, he died in 2017, 2018. 2016, 2017, I got out of his stepfather. I was living with my stepfather, my mother. The next thing, just hear this kind of thing. My mother was trying, I think mother worked 2013. She worked 2018, 2013, and again she worked 2019, she was working. But when I was not seeing, but she said around 2005, 2004, she was working at a restaurant at the capital city of my country. So even now, I think last time she was having a pre-nursing. A pre-nursing is not a nurse straight, but she was telling me that she was having pre-nursing, a certificate. But pre-nursing, I think she said again to me that they said that they no longer work with pre-nursing. They no longer allow pre-nursing to be a nurse at the hospital, the clinics. I think she told me so. Just here, they no longer allow pre-nursing. So the next thing, those kind of things just here. So, but what is the law? But I think, because I'm talking about the money. That 17, I was living with my stepfather. I was a kid. I should be ashamed even now to say that I was living with my stepfather. He was from the village to township, going to college. I was with the stepfather going to college. It's crystal clear that I was eating his food, electricity, blah, blah, blah. It's because what? I'm a kid. My father was in a predicament. There was no way that he can have a trade. His wounds were cut completely. 2018, I went back home. I was with the stepfather. And the time I was trying to go home, Mother was saying, no, the next thing I'm no longer living at my grandmother because at my grandmother's side, we are plenty. Because let's be honest, because we all know a family having dozens of family. You know? Dozens of family members, humongous, enormous family members. Let's cook at night dinner. Let's cook at night dinner. A caliber of a family which is very short and a caliber of a family which is humongous. You know, the one which are having enormous caliber is the ones with what short family members. But if you are having humongous family members, enormous, the caliber will be very weak. But it's not that I'm criticizing, because the fruition, when they say you reap what you sow, the fruition of the humongous family is very vast. So the short family members is the caliber is enormous. But fruition, what if those ones with a lot of family, they work? What if they work and they become powerful, they do a party family reunion? The next thing they're having a house somewhere, they're having a house somewhere, they're having a house somewhere, so that we can take vacations. But if you're short family members, they cannot take vacations to several places. You'll always be at the same vicinity, same location. So it's not that I'm criticizing one, the humongous family, my mother's side. Fruition, even now, I'm in a predicament, I'm stranded. One, if I can the police station, maybe they're asking me, do we have a family members close? There's a city where I'm having this auntie of mine. The next thing, transporters take you to your auntie. Just hear that. It's the fruition of humongous family. So, father was in a predicament, there was no way he can bounce. It was 2018 he perished. And he perished when I was talking about my prosperity blueprints to make money. That's why he perished. You know? The next one, so let me get inside technology. I was on tribalism. You know? Technology, having solitude. It doesn't mean if I'm living in a village. It doesn't mean I'm going to loiter the village. It doesn't mean I'm going to vendor the village. I'm going to be indoors. You know? Like even now, I'm always indoors. You understand what I'm saying? I'm indoors. I'm always indoors. I'm always indoors. Now I'm living at the room. You know, it's vacation is being long and being there at the village. I'm living at the room now, looking for, exploring vacation. You know, I'm renting a room. The next thing, it doesn't mean that when I'm renting a room, I'm going to be all over the township. The same if I'm at home. It doesn't mean that I'm going to loiter the street to Venice. I'm going to do that. Loiter the street if it's when it's uncomfortable. When there's no generosity, there's no genuine, you know, there's no empathy. That's whereby I will loiter the street. I can say that the spirit which is hovering is diabolic. That's why I will get out of that wicked spirit and go be on the street, loiter the street. Something what is not fine. So it comes to parenting. I'll always be with technology, TV, entertainment. Let's start with entertainment technology. I'll be on TV. I'll be on TV a lot of time, or I'm reading my books, I'm playing soccer in the yard, or I'm wrestling with the stem, I'm at the backyard. I'm playing wrestling with my pillow on the bed. I'm using some lotions, playing them with wrestling, because I was hustling wrestling. That's why a lot of time I place perception. A lot of time I was working indoors, so solitude, because I place perception of wrestling, hustling, I might say, that you can make a money with just the physical pain, enduring the pain, you can make a living. So I'm at the backyard playing wrestling. I'm using the lotions, the toys. Toys. I think it's the lotions, you know. TV, everything. So when I'm playing wrestling like that, I take myself like a celebrity fever. I don't want to get out to the street. I'm always indoors. As I've just said, if there is what uncomfortable, as if when there is what diabolic spirit, that's when I will get out. You know, when there's a devilish spirit, I'll get out of the yard. That means my solitude have been jeopardized. You know, my sigma have jeopardized. But a lot of time being indoors, I'm always indoors because I'm looking for what? It's just attitude. So if I'm finishing school, I'm growing, I'm an animal, I'm developing. I'm going to look for a wife. At school is because they don't teach us about the ethnic. They've never taught me, I must say. They've never indoctrinated me about the ethnic. It's because perhaps I didn't do geography that's still included. I didn't do that at school. So they didn't teach us about the tribe to choose a wife. They didn't teach us about the species, who I am. They didn't teach me, I must say. It's because I didn't do history. You know, and even now reference can okay, elephant in the room. KKT didn't study history. So I'm talking about pairing, having a wife. So that's where difficulty emerges. You know, because I'm going to choose a wife. I said that the white is an alternative of my wife. You know, because she's a woman. My wife, I know her. I know her, my species, my hair. You see, my hair tells everything what creature I am. The next thing. So, how I am, everything. My wife, I was growing. It's time for me to choose a wife. I'm going to meet my wife at college. I'm going to meet my wife, at college, university. Even after high school, I was having as a wife prior to high school, but you all know complications, The next thing is time to be what is solemn, to be serious, to choose a wife. That's where problem emerges. In my perspective, I think that's where problem emerges. Just here now, my father's side. Just here now, my father's side. Just here, he died. No money even now. I'm not making money. Without a social grant, there's no money. My families are not them, but let's be honest in the home. Mother, we all know that the gossiping, jealousy in the home. I'm my mother's son. If I'm doing the good things, I'm my mother's son. If I'm doing the bad things, they blame my mother. If I'm doing the good things, they compliment my mother. I'm talking about it because I'm left with her now. So, pairing, as I'm always indoors on TV. TV, what is it made for? Entertainment media. It is made to keep someone company. It is made, company to entertain, like educate, like what's the use of going out in the street? I'm watching a movie, I'm watching a soapy, I'm watching news, I'm watching numerous things on TV. What's the use of entering the street? For what? Because the person that I'm meeting at the village, in the township, is the same as what the one on TV. I met him because of TV. If I relocated from the vicinity, you wouldn't know me. You won't know me, who I am, my name, what is it that I do, what I deal, what I do not deal. You won't know me. They won't know me. It's because of the village. And at the village, we go to the headquarters and sign a yard. At the township, I think the same thing we go where they register a yard. The next thing, we register the home. So the village, the vicinity, is collateral to TV. If there was no village, there are some places where nobody is living. Let me go there and live there. They won't allow that. It's because of the danger. The next thing is because of the village to know those who know me, those who I know. Illumination. So the same as TV. As I'm watching TV, I'm watching a movie. And that's why I know them, I interact with them. They're gents, they're ladies, just TV. It's the same as I meet someone, I befriend someone because of the location. If it was not for the location being invented, I won't know. Those who know me, those I know, I won't know. As they say, to know what you know and to know what you don't know, that's true knowledge. The next thing, I know them because of what? The vicinity. So I was having solitude, I was having sigma, I was always indoors. So the next thing, but I was oblivious that I'm being attacked at the side. I was oblivious. I was completely oblivious. I was unaware Because I'm finishing school. If I finish school at the age of 17, then the next thing, grandmother, what does it say? If she died at 2010 now, and my father cannot hustle. Because even now, I cannot organize the social grant. It's because of my guardian mother. Proof of resident, the doctor, everything. I cannot organize money. Even now, she's still helping, looking for money for me. The money is little. I can't do a driver's license. And now what the service was oblivious. I was oblivious to what? That perhaps the enemies, they know me. God knows how to castrate me. God knows how to limit me. So if she died in 2010 and I finished high school 2017, it's crystal clear that I was going to finish school. That's what God, the programmer, what he does. She took soul. Even now, if I go to the cemetery, 1954 to 2010, that's my grandmother. My grandfather, 1950 to 2000. My grandmother, 1954 to 2010. My father, 1981 to 2018. 2018, I just finished school. I was always on TV. TV, as I've said, technology is God, the technology, because I said that the TV is because of the electricity. And the electricity comes from the coals, the mineral, the stove to cook. Now it's getting that technology for me to live. The stove that I cook with, there's a metal called nickel. Nickel, I repeat it. And again, chrome. So the stove is electricity. Then the spiral things on the stove, there is this steel, which is very tough. It can, you all know when a steel is very hard, a steel can withstand the heat. A steel is unlike plastic. So there's types of steel, nickel, chrome. So the next thing, the stove, the cooking stove, they use chrome, nickel, so that it cannot what? It cannot burn like plastic. It can withstand the heat. So electricity to coal is God. So having solitude, having sigma is because of God. The minerals, the soil I am, soil shall return as a pit. So it was because of what? It was because of God. So the next thing, the TV, electricity, from what? The soil, the ground, the water, the planet, the earth. Then the next thing, TV, the switch, the plug on the socket, everything. The plug will let the TV, electricity have to be compensated. Then the next thing, the electricity goes when the TV is plugged on. It goes. The next thing is electrical energy. It's going to be converted. I was talking about what the turbine. Turbine is like a fan. A fan for heat, to remove heat, wind. It helps with air, a fan when it's hot. Now, opposite to a fan, but it's collateral to a fan. It's called a diode. It's called the diode. Diode is for the TV, the phone, so that anyone who can be seen. The phone, the diode is going to act as a turbine converter. It's a rectifier. It's going to change the electricity into light emitting diode. Light emitting diode. That's why I can be seen right now. That's why my images is a light emitting diode, LED. Nothing I'm on the screen. And a phone and a TV. A phone is made of a chip. It's having this plastic green thing. The next thing is having this metal, the diodes. Because all that the electricity touches with steel. Technology vastly is on steel. I assume technology, plastic, but let me say vastly. It's because of steel technology. I can say 95% of technology is made of steel. Metal, metallurgy. The next thing. So if I open a company of nickel, I open a company of chrome, I can be super rich, I can make money. I can make money. But it's just what the difficulty, protocol, I have to know my place. I have to know my place, that's what is the government, that's what is the departments. I have to know my place. The next thing, I have to know my place. So I'm talking about what? Pairing. Yes, I'm indoors watching TV from the technology, the fridge, there's food, there's meat. You plug the fridge, there's what? Nitrogen. Nitrogen is the element that it comes from the soil, I assume. The nitrogen is going to make the food cold. It's an element. I wanted to make a drug of nitrogen. I wanted to make history. Listen, now I'm talking about what? There's drugs, cocaine, hunger. There's a drug hovering now in my country, it's called hunger. The next thing, I wanted to make a drug nitrogen, whereby the people who get drugged with my stuff, they become cold. Nitrogen. If I take nitrogen, if you behind the fridge there is this container like steel. It's nitrogen. Nitrogen is what makes the food cold. It works with electricity. The next thing is an element technology. So if I was looking for money, because now I know about the cops and the soldiers. It's illegal, there will be repercussions, consequences of your own actions. And the repercussions will be proportional to the damage I've caused. So it's not illegal. But I had that strategy because I'm looking for money, I'm looking for a life. I wanted to make it the victims who are dosaged with my drug nitrogen. They will be what? They'll be cold, they'll freeze like. It depends on how they fluctuate the stuff. I'm carrying out too much stuff, you get cold, you dosage, you fix. You get cold for the time you've compensated for. It fluctuates. This one cost, you'll get freezed for a period of long time. This one is very cheap. You'll not freeze for a lot of time. Imagine that the club freezed, the body freezed. It's a drug. I wanted to cook one. So then I was working. I'm on money. I was thinking about what? Money. Money, cash. Cash to buy food, to buy sex. So that's why I'm in there. So I'm telling you, let's just get back to solitude technology. I was on tribalism to pay. So I'm going to get away from the village. After high school, I'm no longer living in the village. And prior to, I was not what? I think my last visit, it was in 2004 or somewhere. I was having a stepfather. It was at the room here. Just hear that. I wasn't taking vacations. My father said there was a tragedy. There was a catastrophe that caused the apocalypse. I was not taking vacations. That means I cannot have a wife. I cannot have a township wife. Because at the village, the next thing I'm going to have what? A wife, a township wife. I'm not having a township wife. Some sort of castration. That's why sometimes I assume of tribalism. To bear. But they were supposed to phrase it. They were supposed to tell us about pairing. If perhaps the predicament, the condition dictating me, tribalism is included, and I believe it's included. I assume so, I may say. Because my wife, it is pieces the hair. Everything. So that's why I think it is included. That's why I think it is included. The next thing. That's why I think it is included tribalism. So just to hear that, racism, I can race. Those kind of things. If I'm not taking vacations, I will just be in the village. The next thing, shadow of death. A mineral. A village, I was talking about me looking for money, nitrogen. Let's say I go to places far away and me, I'm KKT now. Do you know to be regarded as a mineral? My body, my brain, to get inside the soil of the village. fertilizers. Township with the fertilizer. Do you know those kind of things? So that this place is rich. This place is having gold. This place is having platinum. Those kind of things occurs. But it pisses me off whereby cannibalism, whereby they conspire that for an individual. That's what? Sentence 20 years, 50 years death murder. How much sentence is death? I think 25 years murder. Murder means 25 years. So murder is to kill. So being killed professionally, this the father of water and oil, he was coming from the village. I committed suicide several times. Several times I committed suicide. And as I've said, I'm living alone. Mother tried the wall, the fence, everything, the bed to sleep. She's trying. It's not that I'm being rich. I know that this life, this help, we help each other this life. It's not that I'm spoiled. No, spoiled bread. It was, if she's looking for work now, I'm looking for work. But next time I'm talking about murder. I told you about intruder, home invasion, perpetrator, to slit the throat, there will be publicity. And publicity is bad for a gangster, vastly. Publicity prefers solitude. The next thing. So, pairing, if I was not taking vacations so that I can have a wife, somewhere else. So even now, if you are staying in a place and you're not visiting another place, what will happen probably? What will happen? Let me check the time. What will happen actually? Just hear those kind of things. So the next thing, you end up marrying those one in the huddle. You end up marrying them. Next thing you end up being a loser, building one's way, but you will die. You see, you're trapped in a village. A village is not town. A village is not township. I'm talking about me, my behalf. You will die in my village. There's no money. There's no money in my village. My village, money, transport, the taxi driver. That place is not busy. It's not busy at all. I have to wait maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even 1 hour. You can take it during the day, perhaps. There's no transport to even go back. At night, you won't find a transport. There's no way you can find a taxi at night at my village. So that concludes everything. To work with the motors. To work with the motors looking for money. Just here mixing the cement, the sand. Looking for money. There's no life. There's not. I think now they're helping with what? The teachers' assistants. But I'm saying you wait to be hired. The farms, they're for women, grown women, the general workers. The next thing, they're for women a lot. And that money is very small. Women work on the job of trash picking. General workers, janitors. They work the women in the village. I'm a gender, that's why I have to eat. I must be smart. I must have a car. I must be handsome. I must be beautiful, I might say. The next thing, I have to get out. I have to get out and go look for food. I have to get out and look for food. I'm being honest. And the next thing, it's not that I'm clever. Because now it's the social grant that make money. I'm talking about me to be stranded. No place to go. My father died. My grandmother died. My father died. It's obvious a shadow of death. It's crystal clear. The next thing. It's crystal clear that it's a shadow of death. I don't dictate myself. I don't control myself. So technology, I've said directly, I was talking about myself, pairing, tribalism. Mother want me to marry from the same ethnic. Father want me to marry from the same ethnic. This day, I was finishing school again, 2015. I'm left with one class. Father, 2015, came home. From 2015, he died to 2018. He never went anywhere. He never went to township. I'm left with one class. But I don't want to say that my father loves me. Being optimistic. My mother loves me. Being optimistic. I don't want to say that. I have to dance to the music. Perhaps cannibalism. That guy, my father, that guy, 2015, he comes home. That guy, I don't want to say that he loved me. But I know that the cause of everything. I know his father. I know his father. I know his mother. The next thing, this whereby I will comprehend the circumstance. The premise, I will comprehend. I'll comprehend. It's because of what? Even now, if I go to my father and say, there's no one. But they all know me. I'm about my life to make money to be smart. I think tribalism, I've just said it about pairing wife. It may be the source of me being poor, not making cash, dying to dictate. Shepherd, they had all my tribe. Then they talk about me finishing school. I finished school 2017. I was at college 2 years, but I didn't finish. Then after I went home, I was looking for jobs. I was working with the motors. The next thing, I got the work. He told me about the work. Police station, the police jobs. Even now I want to work the police jobs. But father died. I cannot make police jobs. So the next thing, I went to the police and filled the form to be a police officer. The next thing, they called. They called me and said that prepare a pen, a pencil, and a rubber. It is 2018. He was very sick, very, very sick. He was in a predicament, complete predicament. Then the next thing, they called me so that I can be a police officer. It's a police station. I went there. I wrote a test which is called the psychometric test, which is busy with the psychology. I wrote. Then the next thing, I went back. So I was no longer in a village. The next thing, where I'm staying, it was 2018. Where at home there are many things that was not fine. I think the kitchen, I might say, my stomach grows. The little kids, when I'm watching TV, the next thing when I'm watching a movie, they want to watch a soapy. The next thing, all those things that were impacting me. The next thing, I got out. I went back again to the stepfather. It was a township for a week. When I got there, I was not fine. I think I was sick, like having stomach problem. This stomach, I was not fine. I was thinking about my life. I'm going to end up becoming a loser. I was not fine. Then the next thing, when I got there, I'm not fine. I'm going to be a police officer. Just hear that. I'm not going to stay here. That's what bad blood. Then I was fighting. I went to church the whole year. I was staying at a church. The next thing, at church, 2019, 2020, mother was still busy. They're building a 2-room. Just think, I told you there's no money in this world. But it is sometimes the slang that there's no money, it becomes enormous. There's money is available. But I know about police, to arrest you, they can just accuse you of fake things just because you are rich. They might, what is it called? Accusation to frame me. They can just come to the floor when you're having too much money. So she was busy with the 2 room. I was at church. At church they didn't allow phones. And mother, I'm not sure. Mother asked her, did they call for training? She was holding the phone. And it's because of her, the stepfather. The stepfather is coming from the village. There's bad blood. That's why I went to the church. Next thing the church, they don't allow phone. Next thing I was close to being a police officer. The thing on mother, they called her. I have to call her even now. I was supposed to call her. Mother, what did they say about me being a police officer? Did they call me for training? You were supposed to hear her now on this page. Or I'm not sure, maybe it's a deception. But she says, she tells me that they called her for training. So I can train. And after training, I'm going to get what? They're going to take me to school of being a police officer. I'm going to study so that I can be a police officer. Just here, for me to further my academics, there's no man to perpetuate my academics. Because when father died, he was talking about what? A caucus. A caucus to compensate to school, political caucuses. They're taking youth to school. He knows that this person, he will conspire, he will blueprint. The next thing, I'll go to school. Within 2 weeks, he died. Within 2 weeks of talking about it, blueprint for my prosperity, he died. Even now, if I go to the tombstone, he died. He was buried 12th December 2018. And just here that I think it's a message is got. I was born 11th December. 12th December, my father got buried or he died. Now, just hear how astonishing it is. It is flabbergasting. It is surprising. It's a message, perhaps killers, professional killers, they're threatening me, they're intimidating me, perhaps. 1981 to 12th December 2018. I was born 11th December. Just hear that kind of intimidation is very terrifying. Yes, actually, it is terrifying. I was born 11. Tomorrow my father died and got buried. It is traumatizing. The next thing, I don't know if it's what, witches or what, but what I know is God, the creator of everything. So, we all know about the technology I was talking, building wife, everything. Technology, a car, the soil, the sockets, the TV, is having an impact on me because I'm always indoors. I'm always indoors. You know, a car, I can't explain it properly, but a car, I want it. It's part of me or the desire. And so a car, I know the steering wheel, I know the pedals, clutch, brake, accelerator. You know, I know the gear. A car, yes, I can drive, but I cannot drive properly. A reverse, I assume we use clutch. Now I'm talking about the pedals. And then gas tank, a jack on for cars. So I think a car's engine, there's some things called pedestals. Pistol. What is it? Pistols or what? It is like the turbine, you know, the diode rectifier. You know, it's the motor to drive a car. I didn't study mechanical engineering. That's why I don't have a knowledge about cars that much. But I know about the car. You know, the next thing I'm thinking about that. Even now, what might kill me, technology might kill me, a torpedo, a bomb. It might kill me, a torpedo. Because if now there's a nuclear weapon being released by another country, for instance, there's a war, I'll die, I'll pop. Just hear that. If a torpedo hits, a bomb, a dynamite, just hear those kind of things. It's somehow astonishing. A dynamite, I think it's just heavy. It's not having liquid inside, it's having this steel. So when they activate it, I think there's electricity charging because they pull this pin. This pain may then causes what? Reaction, chemical reaction. The steel touches another steel. The next thing within few seconds, there'll be an explosion. You know? Those kind of things. A gun might kill me. A gun cartridge to cock it. You know? It's technology. It's having a spring. You know, at school, if you take out the pen, which is having what? Those pen we use, not those pen which you can close them. Those pen which is having buttons to take it so that it doesn't just write. The spring if you let go of it. It's like a gun. A gun, you press the trigger. It's a huge spring. Don't think it might kill me. A gun, I'm talking about my life and technology. A gun might kill me. You know, a gun might kill me. The next thing. So, a lot of things, bomb, aeroplane, they saw a bird, the engine. Because when I put perception on aeroplane is a bird. The head, the wings, the tail, the fin. Aeroplane is a bird. To fly. You know, so it uses fuel, aeroplane, I think. It uses fuel. So now where am I at with my life? You know, the phone being indoors watching, me there. Because you all know me, my plans are being optimistic. I want to have a company. Because you all know I'm having a company called Prestige. But it's not registered, everything. I can say that I'm praying. I'm praying like, you know, Prestige is divided into faculties. I'm having Prestige designing, whereby it started as interior and exterior designing. Then the next thing, it is what? Prestige designing. Where I'm living at my village, my home, is being transformed into a suburb. It's my company Prestige. I'm having a patio, a road from the gate, the landscape walls, the backyard I was working in. Even now I'm looking for money. When I was talking about my situation, which doesn't allow me to make money, the social grant I wanted in this company again, Prestige Money Society. My company cannot operate because at a government social grant, they take the ID, then the bank statement. If they just have the ID, it will say everything. So I cannot make what? Prestige Money Society cannot move. So next time I'm going to look for work. I'm going to be finance. I can go to work, everything. I wanted to launder. I'm laundering money. I'm into laundering money. You know, very cheap. It's like a saving company. I have a saving company because you will look at me. If there's a problem, you will look at me. There won't be any transgression. You don't talk to those who are involved within the money society, the money pyramid, but you can know them. That's when I organize a meeting. And I'm the boss. It's not a crime organization. No, I'm the boss. There will never be anarchy. There will never be a transgression. It's completely forbidden. I'll deduct from my own pocket and compensate my clients. It's my company's Prestige Money Society, but it's not activated yet. Because I told you now, the source of wealth, the money, is the social grant. That's why it is not activated. So they are busy with me, some sort of the system perhaps is God. Because money, again, they say it brings cancer. It stops the growth cells from developing. The cells won't grow. The next thing can end up being a dwarf. And you all know enemies. Enemies want to see me as a loser. They want to see me as a peasant. A peasant. So, not growing, the same as my parents died. Not growing sometimes is complication. It's not fine. No, it's not fine, to be honest. So I think that's why perhaps mother, father, they're busy with me, money, the sister, God, so that I can grow. Because they say that it gives what body cancer. Body cancer don't grow. No, that's money. They say it gives body cancer. The next thing will be crippled. You know, so I cannot move money. I'm having interior and exterior designing. Now I've concluded into prestige designing. I'm having prestige media. You know, even now it is prestige media. It is entertainment. I'm playing. It's not that I'm monetizing now. It's not that I'm making money. Because it might be a strategy to shut me up completely. To shut me. Because I'm left with mother. Then instead of saying that this media, they must be sacrificial. Perhaps they want to kill my mother. I'm not monetizing now. I'm not making any money. It's media. It's media. I'm just doing media. I'm not forcing anyone to interact with me. It just my things, my memories. I'll store them. I'll return perhaps after 2 decades. And again, it's for entertainment, so that the elephant in the room can be fascinated when it wants to interact, to watch. It's like a speech. I don't force anyone. So the next thing, it might be a strategy to attack mother that I'm left with. They might say that KKT have ventured into media, KKT have ventured into company, prestige, blah, blah, blah. He have to sacrifice with his mother. The next thing, they'll never stop the enemies until they have satisfaction. Competition. There might be competition competing with me, but the competition have to be fair. Every child must have a father and a mother. That's what we say is competition. But what is competition when you're competing with someone who doesn't have a father and is 10 times better than you? Because we all know it's because of your father, your mother. Just hear that. Mothers competing with kids. And we all know about the unique fathers, species. I'm unique. I'm not my father. I'm not my mother. A horse and a donkey give birth to a mule. Just hear that, the next thing. I'm a creature unique. And I think unique in English, the dictionary. Unique. So the next thing, I'm speaking on behalf of the perpetrators, the home invaders, the intruders. That it's the same. There might be a strategy attacking mother so that I'll be vulnerable. That I won't be able to levitate if I'm vulnerable. They won't stop until they have satisfaction, perhaps criminals. Because I was talking about the mineral to look for power, to drain my power. Because even now, to be hacked, my mother, who is she's staying with? I come from my mother's. I was sucking my mother's breast. Just hear those kind of things. To be hacked. I come out from my mother's vagina. I come out from my father's dick. Biology, life sciences, sex. So the next thing, to be hacked. To have a link with me. Do not have a link. So the next thing, I was talking about this prestige. Prestige, my company, going out into faculties. But I'm paying, it's not registered, everything now. I'm still a kid, no sponsors, pitching. Prestige media, prestige money society, prestige designing. Those are the company which are activated, which are under prestige. The next thing. So, that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Money. There's a sacrifice matters. I'm not monetizing, making money. So the speech was about my life and technology. As I've said, pronounced, technology have an impact in my life. Have an impact in my life. Solitude, the pairing on TV, the phone, even now. So the car to go somewhere quickly. So the next thing. So the time is out. The time is out. The time is out. I don't have a lot to say. This is KKT till we meet again. So we'll see when we meet again. That was all I have to say. The speech was about my life and technology. Precisely my life and technology is just that there's no time. There's no time, but I've said it. It's about my life and technology. I ain't got a lot to say. That was KKT. Let me check. That was KKT. I'm out. I'm out. So that's it. Till we meet again. Thank you. Wait a minute. Let me check. guys, about this time out. It's time out. It's KKT. Till we meet again. Thank you.